Yeah, since I'm talking about health, I might as well talk about this. Yet another thing that I never see anybody talking about, in the newspaper or really anywhere else, things that people don't know about homelessness. Um, when you're homeless, if you're sick, if you have a cold or whatever it is, there's really isn't that much that you can do. It's not like you can. I mean, everybody gets up at 6 o'clock. Some places you get up earlier. Um, So if I were to have a cold like this, which I did a few times, when I was homeless, there would be no question of like being able to like stay in for a couple of days and just kind of get over it and just get some rest. Like you can't do that. You can never do that. So colds would usually tend to last longer, last 2 weeks, last 3 weeks, last 4 weeks instead of lasting a few days. Um, but I tend to be pretty healthy. I do remember those first 2 years that I was homeless. I got really run down. So I don't know, somewhere, yeah, like somewhere, I don't know, a year and a half, almost 2 years of it. I really was just a total mess. And I published pictures of that. I published pictures and talked about what had happened. I finally was like, I can't. First of all, emotionally, I really kind of couldn't take anymore. Um, and I ended up in the hospital. I had like this unbelievable cough that lasted for literally for like 2 months. It lasted literally for 2 months. It was this horrible hacking cough that I could not control in any way. And it was at least 6 weeks before it started to go away at all. And it was probably yeah, I had it for like a solid 2 months. I had just gotten so run down, and I also had pink eye. Um, and it was just in a couple of bed bug bites. I mean, by the time I got to the hospital, it was just like too much, like way too much. And so, um, I was able to, I was finally able, sorry, sorry, excuse me, that finally, I think the process, I was so run down that finally the process of my being able to get moved into a psychiatric homeless shelter was sped up a little bit, because I had asked to be in one, and it can take a while. It can take a while for systems to work for you. But I just had really had it. So that was helpful. Not perfect, but it was helpful. And I was there for a few weeks, several weeks, I think, before then I got the apartment in Braintree, where just even more bad things happened. And then after that, I was homeless for another 2 years, right? But that's just me being young and pretty physically, relatively young, really not really young, but relatively young, and certainly really pretty physically healthy. But there are people who are living in homeless shelters who have to recuperate from major surgery. I mean, it's just the public perception of homelessness. It really is not an accurate perception. You don't know how bad it is. You don't know how bad the conditions are. You don't know how stressful it is. You don't know how people who are homeless have to schedule all of their time around the way the way the shelter does things. Yeah, there's all sorts of people have major health problems and are homeless, are living in homeless shelters. You have like women who have walkers. They are bullied every day by other homeless people who don't have other types of problems but don't have walkers. Um, and people who are diagnosed with things when they're homeless and have to have major surgery and then have to recuperate living in a homeless shelter. I mean, this stuff happens all the time. It happens all the time. And talking about mental illness, you will have people who very clearly have serious major mental illness that makes it impossible for them to really function, and they're in the homeless shelters for years and years. And I am someone who is really against just taking people and forcing things on them that way. But these are people who are, I mean, they are. I don't even know how to describe it. I don't even know how to describe what their lives are like. I don't know. I don't even really know how to talk about that. And of course, they're also vulnerable. They're so clearly mentally incapacitated that they're vulnerable. They're vulnerable. Vulnerable to other types of abuse. Yeah, I mean, anytime the conglomerate wants to pay attention to the things in the world that it really ought to be paying attention to, instead of, and I don't understand. I don't understand the conglomerates, this obsession with trying to make sexual abuse legal. There's every type of sex that's available out there these days. It is if you are an adult who wants to have sex with somebody, you can get that. You can get that with another adult, really almost any type of sex that you want. And there's no reason with someone who wants to, with someone who wants to do whatever it is that you want to do, and there's no reason to be trying to have sex with children, or being voyeuristic towards people, or forcing involuntary pornography on people. Not that there would be any reason anyway, but it just doesn't. It doesn't make any sense at all. It is disgusting. It's disgusting.